rods of knowledge are not the entire strategy, but they are at the core of it. And since rods of knowledge are a theoretical concept and not a tangible thing, the need for the acrostic we use is so that we have a guide for building rods of knowledge. The sections of this system are based upon this word i6estalt exclamation mark, which is pronounced I gestalt. It is an acrostic variation on the word gestalt, with each letter representing a different aspect of the system as follows. I equals intersection, 6 equals sixth sense, E equals education, S equals saturation, T equals trust, A equals artistic, L equals live it, T equals thinker. Again, bang, intersection, like the hub of a wheel. This strategy is synergistic with other thinking systems. The I in i6estalt represents an intersection, like the hub of a wheel. It connects other thinking systems to it and to one another. As you take advantage of all the excellent thinking systems available, many of which we review in the i6estalt Creativity Institute, you will discover that the rods of knowledge, in conjunction with the sixth sense, provide a structure for every other pattern of understanding. As we analyze and review these other systems, logic strategies, and learning structures, we will use the i6estalt strategy to explain them and dissect them to make them even more beneficial. i6estalt is a method that creates a superstructure for understanding the creative process. Once you grasp these concepts, they guide you and increase the power of any creative training that you endeavor to digest and utilize. Sixth sense. This is the creative environment established by the sparks of a gestalt in the mind when the rods of knowledge grow up and cooperate with one another. The sixth sense is a term that has been applied to multiple things, mostly to the belief that some sort of extrasensory perception exists beyond the first five senses and that we recognize it on occasion. It serves us and then it's gone. We are always amazed by its presence and power, but not ever sure where it came from. By the way, the sixth sense is not some anti-theistic pagan resource that requires any kind of ritual practices to attain. It's a real place with specific attributes and definable parameters. We have all encountered it, religious or not, and we have all based decisions on its influence in our lives. To ignore this is to miss out on harnessing its power. To understand this is to benefit from its influence. The i6estalt creative thinking strategy is another field of study to divulge the secrets of our awesome universe and another hidden power available to us. In this strategy, the sixth sense is used in several ways. To denote the arena in which all infinite wisdom and knowledge reside in an immutable state. To denote the result of the spark that is generated by the rods of knowledge. That is, a group of gestalts will set up an environment capable of conducting sixth sense data to the subconscious through the rods of knowledge. To denote the culmination of our five senses into a sense that is instigated internally in the mind rather than from external input. With those definitions in mind, let's discuss the principles of this strategy. It's really quite simple. Whenever the principles of the i6estalt strategy are working in unison, the resulting harmony is your sixth sense in action as you access it with your rods of knowledge. You recognize that sixth sense at times when you have become highly proficient at a skill, when you perform it well and say that you are in the zone. That zone is the sixth sense we are talking about. The sixth sense is akin to the creativity we all experience at one time or another. The trick is learning how to control it for the purposes of generating ideas in any creative discipline: logical deduction, creative reasoning, and problem solving. To experience the sixth sense, what you need is an understanding of how gestalts work, an awareness of the environments in which they reside, an introduction to the attributes of the rods that produce them. Finally, proficiency in controlling the focus point: education. Education is how you grow rods of knowledge, both formal education and informal. Revealed within these pages are strategies and resources for building rods of knowledge. Since rods of knowledge are not stagnant, this section will lead you to a thorough understanding of how to care for them, encourage them, and utilize them. Education binds what you actively learn to an infrastructure already available. Just as much as education can be a goal, it can also be a guide. Professional development stimulates, invigorates, and mediates our understanding. The education component of the i6estalt system provides you with the motivation and means to secure a formal education, as well as discover the value of experience and esoteric training programs like this one. Saturation. This is the key to learning quickly and then applying what you've learned in a focused manner, so the rods of knowledge can more rapidly stretch out into the sixth sense and retrieve the creative answer you are looking for. The saturation method of the i6estalt strategy structures your thinking to promote efficient learning techniques. This teaches you how to saturate your mind and what to saturate it with as you prepare the rods of knowledge to fire into the sixth sense. Saturation is the key to directing yourself into the sixth sense by quickly building rods of knowledge. It's the key to increasing your faculties in any area as rapidly as possible. Saturation is the process of collecting massive volumes of data to add to the base of the rods of knowledge without having to consciously absorb it, moving toward the point of saturation where the rods of knowledge are able to grow quickly and produce gestalts necessary for opening up that sixth sense arena. By utilizing rods of knowledge and giving them physical characteristics, we can emulate how thinking patterns work. Rods of knowledge are a critical component of this strategy. Trust. This is a paradigm shift in thinking about creativity. It removes the responsibility of creating from the artist, problem solver, entrepreneur, or engineer, and allows them complete freedom of flexibility and exploration. Faith is a key factor in many success systems and leadership programs. It is no different with creativity. In fact, it probably serves the creative mind even more handsomely. Ideas are not generated, they are discovered. How you grow and align your rods of knowledge will determine what ideas you unlock. The sixth sense is vast, perhaps as large as the universe itself. It operates at a very high frequency and is filled with wonders because it is made of the raw material of ideas. When we trust that there is nothing new under the sun and that everything that will ever be created has already been created, we have faith that there are more things ahead of us yet to be discovered. Trust also implies that the body of infinite wisdom, infinite creativity, and infinite answers is already established. The shift occurs when you stop trying to invent solutions and instead work to discover them by learning how to understand and control the paths to them. What have leadership teachers taught us over the years? They teach that to be successful, you don't focus on the success itself. You work on the path, you craft the vessel, prepare yourself for the journey, and make your boat ready to sail. Success already exists. You just have to go get it. Creativity follows the same idea. Trust that the solutions, the products, the paintings, they already exist. Michelangelo once said, "He simply chipped away the stone that didn't look like David." His implication was that David already existed inside the marble. He just revealed him. If Michelangelo could accept that we are on a path of discovery, not creation, then we should too. When we trust in the existence of this wisdom, we remove pressure and free our creativity, artistic. To be an artist is to have the ability to see what is not there. It is to see on the right side of the brain and wield the fundamentals of art in pursuit of new ideas. In ancient times, kings and queens always ensured they had artists in their councils because artists could see through intellectual veils and perceive what others could not. Having a fundamental understanding of the elements and principles of art allows us to see through artistic eyes and develop a working knowledge of line, color, and balance. Coming from a background of zero creativity, I discovered that when I began to study art, my thought processes began to bend. I started to see around corners and evaluate things differently. Artistic concepts build such radically different rods of knowledge that they immediately influence thought patterns by establishing new frames of reference. By knowing what these influences are doing and how they act upon thinking patterns, you can purposefully apply them to a desired end. The artistic method of the i6estalt. Strategy develops your artistic eye through knowledge, exposure, and expressive analysis. Art is the silent hero behind many inventions and breakthroughs. Understanding art and design principles helps unlock new ways of thinking. The artistic mindset allows you to perceive patterns and relationships that others overlook. Live it. It is not enough to learn the principles of the i6estalt strategy. You must live them. Daily, allow yourself to see the world differently. Practice creativity in everything. It will embolden and empower you. As you develop your creative faculty, life becomes more exciting, fuller, and more enjoyable. Each new gestalt strengthens your mind, grows your rods of knowledge, and refreshes your system. With this understanding, your confidence will rise, your ability to reason will improve, and your passion for discovery will grow. The Live It method of i6estalt exposes you to tools and techniques that keep your creative mind flexible and sharp. Thinker, this is the brain, the understanding of the conscious and subconscious. A thorough study of how it works, what influences it, and what drains its power will help increase your creative abilities. An understanding of the brain lends itself to increased utilization of your rods of knowledge. Certain aspects of creativity coaching are about helping thinkers overcome emotional blocks that hinder performance. i6estalt is as much theory as it is practice. But more importantly, it's about what you do with it and how you let it affect your creative life. Bang! This represents our control over the process. Without the ability to control when and where you slip into the sixth sense, you risk being overwhelmed by it. In computer phonetics, the exclamation point is called a bang. It signifies power. The strategy is powerful not only in its raw ability to help you see around corners, but because you can control it. Because you can control it, it becomes a tool, a weapon for success rather than a distraction. The bang principle reminds you that the creative process can be accessed intentionally, safely, and powerfully.